Fellas, let's go now to Columbus. And the game is going on now, and it looks like it's going to go 12 rounds. Penn State, Ohio State. Trevor Knight, let's start with you. We're going to wind up, I'm going to let cap this, but we're going to start with you. What's the biggest takeaway now? Ohio State, as we're on air right now, is up 6, 30-24 with just under 3 minutes left in the game. You're talking about the number 5 team in the country. They probably think like they're just kind of finishing business to get to where their rightful birthplace is in the playoffs. And here's Penn State. Tough loss at Iowa. Tough loss the other night or last week against Illinois. Going toe-to-toe with them. What's your biggest impression so far of this heavyweight bout?
You know, I think if we were talking a couple of weeks ago, we would have expected this type of turnout of a game, right? I mean, Penn State's a solid football team. They've taken their lumps from time to time, but they've got the ability to go toe-to-toe with just about anybody. I think what we see from this is two guys in C.J. Stroud and TreVor Henderson that are a backbone of an offense that can put up points, that can lead a football team down the field, that can be trusted in crucial times during a game. And then you can really put the weight of the shoulder on their shoulders of an entire program, an entire fan base to say, hey, boys, let's get on this wagon and let's run it to where we want to go to the promised land. C.J. Stroud's playing great football. TreVor Henderson is running the football very, very well. And those two guys are poking out as two of the better players in college football right now.
I would agree. Bryce, when you're watching Stroud and company, as Trevor just pointed to, they do look like one of the 4 best teams, but they do have to run a gauntlet. Like, that's the beauty of it. Yes, your locker room talent does merit a top 4 consideration, but you gotta get in the ring and come out of the ring with the other heavyweights on this side of the division. If Penn State knocks off this team and they can march on through, is it realistic a 2-loss Big Ten team can make noise for the playoff?
That was tough. I mean, I don't know, because it's gonna fall with do they have enough to show that they're better than Alabama, right? Because I think you're gonna have Georgia in there. If OU wins out Big 12, I think you're gonna have OU in there, and then you're gonna have again. I don't know. I like Big Ten football. I think Ohio State can make it through. They got at Nebraska, Purdue, Michigan State, and then Michigan at home. I do like them because, again, like we've been talking about, and this is kind of a common theme in this late October, November, as us football dudes know, this is when you find out who you are. This is when you find out who your team is. This is when you want to be hitting your stride. And I think, to Trevor's point, they've always had the right guys. They just had to honestly just get plays under their belt. And I think C.J. Stroud can operate this offense really well. I think he's allowing the guys, they're doing a really good job of putting their playmakers in positions to be successful within C.J. Stroud and what he does well. And their defense is finally not killing them. Because that was kind of what we saw at the beginning of the year, was that their defense was just terrible. And so they're playing well right now. And this is interestingly enough, on the flip side, I think this is Penn State. I think they got chipped up by Illinois last week. Looking ahead to this game, we had too many things. It's a we thing. We had too many things. There you go. That just showed me that was the case. And so I think these guys are coming out this week going, man, this was again that we were looking ahead. We got tripped up. And so they're coming out, throwing blows. And but it's going to be interesting. I think if Penn State can do and win out and again win this game, they could make a case. I think it'd be a damn shame for them not to.
Hack. Penn State, these are your boys, and I do want to open it up, but I want to get this question in. if they can rally and knock off the number 5 team, then they got to turn around and go see who knows what Michigan State's going to be ranked, probably another number 5. Then they still got to see Michigan with, even though they got beat in a close one to the number 6 or 7, like Michigan's still going to be top 10, top 12. That's 3 big heads you can put up on your wall. Yeah, there was an ugly deal with Illinois. And I think the commission can understand what happened in Iowa. But who else has 3 top 10 wins coming down the back stretch?
Yeah,
Make the case, Hack.
I think the argument, and whether it's Penn State, whether it's Ohio State, whether it's Michigan State, whether it's Michigan, right? I think the argument's going to be is the fact that those 4 programs have predominantly been within the top 10, 12 teams in the country for the past 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And are probably going to continue to scrap within the top 25 here until the end of the season. I think the argument's going to be that no matter what the wins and losses say, whoever comes out of this, they have to be sitting at that table or have an opportunity to be sitting at that table, because the way the Big Ten's shaken out, whoever's in the West, I mean, Minnesota's leading the West now. I mean, Iowa got thumped today.
Right.
Wisconsin has kind of come on hot, but Minnesota still has to play Iowa and Wisconsin. But like, to me, the West is a battle for second place. Like, whoever is going to play one of these guys that comes out of this gauntlet in the East here in the final stretch, it's a battle for second place. They're good football teams, but I just don't think they have the juice. I think, Trevor, you made some really good points about Ohio State. I mean, that offense has hit their stride. JP, Joshua Perry, and I talked about it this week on our podcast. Ohio State's, they can score with anybody. Defensively, they've had some issues, like Bryce was saying early on in the season. But I mean, even tonight, they had a scoop and score. The defense is figuring out ways how to put the offense in good situations. And as long as you have a high-powered offense, that's kind of all you can ask for them, is give us 1 or 2 timely turnovers or 1 or 2, stops, and let us just go operate. And right. I think that's the formula they've adopted. But I think ultimately, whether it's Penn State, whether it's Ohio State, whether it's Michigan State, whether it's Michigan, whoever survives this, they go on, they win the Big Ten. I think any of these teams deserve a seat just because of what they've gone through. I think it merits any other conference in the country. I think it's the closest thing in terms of a division within a conference to something that the SEC, when you have 3 or 4 teams that are really up in one side of that division or another. I think it's really the closest thing that we got. So, and then with regards to Penn State, I think they're kind of going to be more in the spoiler seat now because of that Iowa or the Illinois loss. I think they're the guys that can kind of make some noise and ruin some things. So we'll see what happens. But they got some work ahead. Everybody's got some work ahead, but I think that whoever wins this conference deserves a seat.
And whoever wins this conference will have done so with the whole country, like keying in on them. Pac-12, for all intents and purposes, like you guys are good. We get it. You checked in. You've already checked out. No problem. Cut the lights out on your way out. The ACC
is the same way.
The same way. All respect to Wake Forest. How you guys doing?
So that's what sucks, right? Because you just had last 5 years or whatever, Clemson would go undefeated 3 of those 5 years, and they're number 2 or number 3. Yep. And Wake Forest has a chance to go undefeated in the ACC. And they're going to be, hey, man, that Capital One Bowl's got your name all over it. Like, that just sucks.
It feels like we're telling Wake Forest, hey, you guys come on in. You can put your coats over there. Yeah, welcome. Bathrooms are over there.
You've never been here before, so let me show you around.
Let me show you around. Yeah,
welcome to the show, young fella.
Yeah, that fruit basket you were looking. We don't have fruit baskets here. We play for metal up here. But come on in. Go on. Tell your friends, come on in. It's different with Wake Forest.